Welcome back, my friends. Just one or two people had asked about the trommel. Well, it sat in there with a lot of other junk, but I just wanted to show you this. It's the bottom of a plastic cart, possibly like a laundry type thing that you push around, and I've cut it like that. That will hopefully on the trommel catch the twigs and stones that come out of it, and the other half ended up on the allotment. It's a nice depth, and my intentions is to use it for the Jerusalem Artichokes. Now on the bed here I've got far too many, and the rampant ones, similar to those, I'll dig one out. I'm going to make sure I try and get rid of, he says, but these do tend to stay in a reasonable clump. Now if you remember, last year I did some small pots and I got some very small artichokes, smaller than that, mainly because they couldn't get the nutrients, but obviously when they can get deep down you end up with monsters like this. Now I did have one here earlier that had started to root down already, so they've all got to come out. I say they just started to throw some shoots out, and these are the ones, they're pointed and they do run, so I'm getting rid of all those, so hopefully the new box won't get affected. So I'm going to be taking, not that one, some that size, and I'm going to be putting them into this little setup here. I've got some stakes there to support them, so I'm going to be putting one artichoke in each one, very similar to what I'd put in the flower buckets. That should get me a handful of small artichokes, ideal for me lunchbox. And then I'll be taking the larger ones and putting into here as soon as I've got the soil to a good standard. If I put plenty of organic material right down the bottom, mix it in with that heap of soil, I've buried it slightly, but I don't have any worries about this type of Jerusalem artichoke escaping, especially if I plant it at that sort of height, about 12 inches, 300 millimeters above the level of where the tank is inside, actually in the ground. So I'm thinking 6 of those will probably do. So I brought it up to a reasonable level. I think they've got to be planted roughly that deep, and I'll probably just keep it below the shelf at the top when I backfill. But 4 is more than enough, because that's just 2 plants plus all the bits that I've put into the others, and like I said, it's more than enough for me, as we only eat them raw. So there's 9 stations there. That should give me 18 weeks worth of vegetable for my lunchbox, and I can harvest from here, saving the bigger tubers, because you only get small tubers if you put them in a small container. And then I can cut these up and wash them. They're all very awkward to wash, so the smaller ones, that's sort of what I prefer. But the soil mix is 1 part topsoil, 1 part compost from off the side of the road, 1 part spent, well not spent compost, but it's the compost that I mixed for my potatoes, so it's got all sorts of goodies in it. Wormery, 1 part wormery, that's from out the polytunnel, a handful of ashes from the bonfire, and if I can get the lid off, a handful of Cotswold dust from the stone from #garden makeover. I believe artichokes will grow anywhere, but beans, this is the first mix I've put in the tub, then it ought to be a good one, because then I can just add to it each year if it needs it. Right, I'll just top these up. So we've got the soil, the Cotswolds dust, the wormery, the spent compost, log ashes from when I had my first fire at the hashtag starting new allotment, and then that's the, come on, oh, it's the potato compost from this year. So let's get that all mixed up. It'll certainly give us a good mix. This is how my dad taught me to mix concrete. Can't grumble with that material. That's pretty well what I'm using on all the containers at the moment. I think these will really enjoy this. Not gonna, oh, road potato. Not gonna compact it because those Jerusalem artichokes will need as much room as they can. So I'll get on with this. So the last little bit. As always, you get towards the end of the day and you've had enough. Hopefully that will suit those, and this new bed, the container bed, will do well for me. It's a shame I've still got things growing, but it isn't really, because that's what my intentions were all along. But it won't be long before I can get those crops up and sorted. I should probably put the same sort of frame around that, because if you remember, that bed, they did all fall over onto the beans. So the beans moved from bed 4 up to bed 1. Move the parsnip box. The other ones to follow as and when I use the parsnips. Potato tower challenge. That's about 5 foot or more. And like I say, I've filled a few of the containers up. Plenty of soil, but I don't want to put just soil in. I want to put my magic mix in. A quick thank you to AJ's Allotment for showing me her purple sprouting. Thank you very much, Amanda. And I had every intention of moving the greenhouse today, so the 2000 subscribers competition is now closed. I've done that. I've changed the title of the actual video, and I'm hoping to get that done as soon as I can. But having the granddaughter around Sunday, I'm going to be a good boy and do what I need to do. Always good to play with the youngsters. I've limed the root bed, and I've mucked the brassica bed, and this year through lots of advice, I'm going to add lime as I plant my brassicas. And the cage has got to be moved as well. Thanks for watching, guys. Commenting, subscribing. Happy gardening to you all. Till next time, my friends. Ta-ra for now.